I'd like to call to order this meeting of the joint Minnehaha County and Sioux Falls Planning Commission meeting, and we're going to ask you to make sure that your cell phones are off. I want to point out that Andy will be chairing for the city side and I'll chair for the county side as we take action. We're going to diverge a little bit from the agenda as staff's asked for a few minutes to talk about the county vision plan upcoming meeting.
Good evening, David Heinold, Minnehaha County Planning Department. Just wanted to make a brief announcement about the Envision 2035 comprehensive planning process. We've put together a draft plan. The task force committee has reviewed those, and we've also had some public open houses over the past 3 to 4 years. But this is basically to set the tone for growth management, things like agricultural preservation are topics within the plan itself. Economic development pertaining to that. Environmental stewardship is another section that was in there that I just needed to. And then transportation, future land use plan is developing another an update to the last comprehensive development plan. The public open house will be held on Tuesday, March 24th, 6 to 7:30 p.m. at West Central Middle School in the Commons area. You're welcome to come and express your feedback on this process. We do have a website. We have a website that you can visit that the chapter updates are online that you can review and send in your comments to either one of us on staff. Feel free to stop by and give us your comments on the process itself.
I want to say something too. I just wanted to also address the audience because this is really to invite all of you to come. And you may, this is a very hot, interesting topic because if you have been following the news, one of the biggest complaints that we've heard about, like the 6 million chickens in Turner, was the public felt that they did not get a chance to participate in that planning process. And here we are right now looking at adopting a new comprehensive plan, and I really want the public to attend because, I mean, it's really, as David said, this is going to be addressing goals and policies that the county is going to be adopting, dealing with transportation, bike trails, agricultural uses, and I really want the public to participate. So that's why I asked the chairman to let me, since we have a captive audience here of citizens from the county, please, pass it on to people that you may know that are going to be interested, because we really would like to, try this all out to the county, make the citizens aware of really what's going on in their community, because I want everyone to be involved so we avoid what's going to happen in Turner County, because I really want everyone to be involved and know what document is going on in their communities. So thanks.
You're very welcome, and thanks to the commissioners for indulging that. David normally gives the update at the end of the meeting when there's no one here, so I thought it would be best if he did it now. So, we'll continue on. The planning commission's work on land use in the zoning matters in the rural areas surrounding the city, and in a second we're going to show that to you on the screen. Tonight, after information and testimony is presented on agenda items, the members will discuss the matter, and each planning commission will vote independently to arrive at a decision. The joint agenda is completed. When that's completed, then the city commission will adjourn, planning commission will adjourn, and the county planning commission will consider items outside of that joint jurisdiction. Any final action taken on the conditional use permit request that we have tonight will take effect 5 working days following this meeting unless a written appeal of tonight's decision is filed in the county planning office by Monday, March 2nd at 5 p.m. In the event of an appeal, the decision will be referred to the county commission and the city council for a joint hearing on Tuesday, March 24th at 5 p.m. And that meeting is held in the Carnegie Town Hall at 235 West 10th Street. Action taken on a rezoning request will be referred to the City Council and the County Commissions for a joint public hearing on Tuesday, March 24th at 5 p.m. And that meeting is also held in the Carnegie Town Hall at 235 West 10th. At this time, the Planning Commission will consider the consent agenda, the minutes from the January 26th meeting are included in the consent agenda. Are there any objections from the planning commission members to any items on the consent agenda? Hearing no objections, then I'll read the items on the consent agenda. So as mentioned, the approval of the January 26th minutes are included. Item number 2 is a conditional use permit, which is 15-12 to allow a contractor job, and that's located at 26035 478th Avenue, and that's approximately a half a mile northeast of Sioux Falls. Anyone here that objects to that being on a consent agenda? Item number 3 is a rezoning to rezone from A1 Agricultural District to I1 Light Industrial. And it's on a parcel that is located at 1310 North Ellis Road. That's approximately 1.5 miles west of Sioux Falls. Any objections to that remaining on the consent agenda?
Yeah,
And yes,
okay. I have some questions about that.
okay. And we will move that then to the regular agenda. So that, with that item moved, do we have a motion to approve items 1 and 2?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries
Aye.
on the consent agenda. Okay, the motion passed both on the city and the county side. So then at this point, we'll hear from David on item number 3, which is moved to the regular agenda. Do I need a motion first to approve the regular agenda? Is that right or not?
I think you're fine.
Okay, cool. Good. David? That's your leader.
Good evening, David Heinold, Planning Department. Excuse me one second while I put up another map that shows the zone. Petitioner Zacharias Construction is proposing to rezone a parcel of land. As you can see there, labeled subject property. There is an existing area that's zoned I-1 Light Industrial that's just to the west where the feed manufacturing business is, right there on the west side of Ellis Road. This is located along abandoned Ellis and Eastern Railroad, about a quarter mile east of Ellis Road. As you can see there, there's a little road that goes through there. Switch back. So here's the,
It's not showing on the screen.
We have a new laptop there, by the way.
skip forward and talk about this briefly. The subject property is located on the east edge of an existing rural service area, which is defined by the comprehensive plan with primary access to Ellis Road. As you can see right here. The access road. The access road basically goes along the diagonal there, just north of the abandoned railroad line. Most of the land around the site is zoned for A1 agricultural uses. This site is currently zoned that. And the one just to the northwest of it is also A1 agriculture. It was used for some dairy handling and warehousing in there. The nearest slightly established industrial complex is just west where the feed manufacturing business was, west of Ellis Road. Petitioners stated that the rezoning would allow them to demolish the old fertilizer plant to better suit their needs. Let's get forward here. This is the current building that they have right now. They would like to construct a building that can better suit their needs. And this is just some of the other ones. The current warehouse building that they have, they've outgrown that. In 1990, as I've mentioned, comprehensive plan recognizes the unincorporated area of Ellis as an existing rural service area that was developed as a result of rail transportation access and convenience to major highways. The plan supports reasonable expansion of existing rural service areas to accommodate industrial uses where rail access may be available. On February 5th, 2015, staff conducted a site visit and determined that the proposed rezoning change is appropriate for the areas located upon, given the land uses around it. However, the zoning may not match up to it. But the area just to the northwest is being used in industrial warehousing type facilities. And then the general character of the area is industrial, as I mentioned before. So staff finds that the rezoning request to rezone from the A1 agricultural district to the I1 light industrial district conforms to the goals and policies of the 1998 comprehensive development plan. The rezoning request is consistent with the type of land uses that have previously been used for industrial operations just to the northwest. Staff recommends approval of rezoning 15-03. If you have any questions, I'll entertain them.
Questions for staff? Thank you, David. Is the petitioner here, and could you step forward, state your name and address, and tell us what you plan to do?
I'm Jeff Zacharias with Zacharias Construction, and as he stated, we would like to demolish the existing structure and build something that's a little more conducive to our needs and a little more modern.
How big is this new building?
Projected 80 by 90.
Any other questions for the petitioner?
Yes,
Yes.
question?
Okay, no, from the commissioners?
Commissioner.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here in the audience that would like to speak to this matter? We'll work on. And this would be a time to come forward and ask your question. State your name and address.
My name is Lyle Monse. I own the property adjoining the railroad track on both sides there next to Mr. Zacharias' property. And I think that, as I understand it, the plan is to simply put a new building over there. There's not a new activity. It's the same activity for maintenance, equipment maintenance, and perhaps we need to check and see if there's anything else intended there. I don't think there's any light manufacturing or anything like that intended in there. So my question, first of all, is for Mr. Zacharias, what is the intended use of the property? And for the commission, or whoever will be proper, why is rezoning even being considered or even required, if it is required? I don't see any change in purpose so far from the discussions I've had. And so it seems to me a rather a moot question whether we need any rezoning or not. It's a question that I'm surprised got this far.
I can answer the second half of the question, and that would be, in order to obtain a building permit to construct this building, the property has to be, the use in the property would have to be in compliance with what the building permit's being sought for. So in order for the applicant to request a building permit for a new commercial building, the property has to be zoned properly or correctly for that use. And what the applicant is doing is basically, I believe, storage, like you said, maybe some equipment storage, maintenance, repair, and that is a light industrial use according to our zoning ordinance, and that's why the applicant is asking to rezone his property at this time.
I understand part of his business is to move earth. That is, he has large trucks that will move a lot of dirt. And this is certainly consistent with an ag use. It's as consistent with ag zoning as the fertilizer plant that was first there. And it's certainly not a change of purpose of what it's using it for. It's just a replacement of a building. And I don't see why a building permit is dependent upon changing the zoning.
Well, the way the zoning ordinance is written, an agricultural fertilizer building or a seed facility, that would be a conditional use within the ag district because that is an accessory to the ag use. It's dealing with an ag activity. But the storage of construction equipment isn't really an ag use. It's more of an industrial use.
It occurs to me that if the equipment he has is used, for instance, for terracing on a farm field, or perhaps in assistance to tiling, that is indeed an ag use.
It's a commercial use. It's an industrial commercial use.
Seems as ag use as was the fertilizer operation that was there. But I do have one other question I would like to address to Mr. Zacharias, and that is, can we arrange to have a survey to establish a property line along the east side of his property? That's, except for the big question about the zoning, whether it's necessary or not, that's the gist of what I have to say. I may answer other questions if there are any.
Right. Thank you. And any other questions for?
Allow my
Sherman? Thank you, sir. Before we ask the petitioner to come up and respond to those questions, is there anyone else in the audience who would like to speak to this matter at this time? And would the applicant please come back up and perhaps you could shed some light on those questions?
As to the question of use, you're exactly right. It is for the maintenance of our construction equipment, storage of spare parts, and just to get things out of the weather. We're not into manufacturing or anything like that, so there'll be none of that while it's under our ownership. As far as the survey, I guess if Lyle, you want to get with us and we have that surveyed, I don't see what that has anything to do with what we're talking about here tonight. That's probably a personal matter between us, I guess. So, is there anything else?
Mr. Zacharias, the type of construction activity that you're involved in, can you tell us a little bit about?
We're involved with what you call highway heavy construction. We deconstruct and reconstruct roads mostly. We do have earth movers, excavators. We're also involved with aggregate production. We have some pits further out in the country, and we recycle some concrete and some asphalt.
No question.
So how long have you been operating at this site?
I purchased the building in 2000, and we moved to it in 2002.
Any other questions for the applicant? Thank you, sir. Staff, maybe you could do this easier than I, but for the benefit of the audience and the neighbor in particular. The zoning has some permitted uses. Can you, I guess,
Let me go grab one of our zoning ordinances.
maybe I've got it here, you just tell me if I'm wrong. It's a public, it could be a public utility facility, electrical substation, antenna support structure. Does that sound right, David? As well as any permissive use except for personal services listed in the C commercial district. So there are some uses beyond what the current activity that could be permitted with this rezoning. Is that correct?
That's correct. And as the applicant indicated, I mean, I think this is sort of an attempt to bring the zoning into compliance with what the use has been historically. So, because it, like I said, when he wants to obtain a building permit, it would be impossible to expand that because it would be an ag use, and it's not it's zoned ag, however, what they're using it for is not an ag use, and so it's basically grandfathered in right now. So this will bring the zoning into compliance, which will allow them to basically better plan for their business and get a newer building, which is probably more useful for their activities.
Okay. Just one last call for any testimony from the audience. Commissioners, what's your wishes?
Move approval.
Move to approve. Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries on the county side.
Motion passes on the
And I think that concludes our joint commission activity.
Yes, sir.
Second. See you later.